We want to welcome everyone. So, if this is your first time joining us for an open house event, or if we've met with you before, we're glad you could join us today for the eTherapy Coffee Talk session. This one's featuring our mental health services. So, we hope you all brought your favorite morning beverage. I have mine here for this relaxed open house where you'll be able to gather lots of great information about eTherapy and where you'll also have the opportunity to ask questions of not just one, but two of our veteran therapists in your field. I'd like to go ahead and introduce to you our coffee talk team for today. We have with us our hiring manager, Jill Beers. Our other hiring manager, Letitia Hall, is unable to be here today. She's off doing some summer interviews for us, but she is here in spirit. And both Jill and Tish are happy to answer any questions you may have during the hiring process moving forward. We also have Stephanie McNamara, our Assistant Director of Operations. And in just a little bit, Stephanie's going to tell you about the support systems that we have built here at eTherapy. Myself, Megan McGee, I wear several hats here at eTherapy, but I think the one that's most important to your experience today is that I'm a veteran teletherapist of almost 13 years, and I have worked for several teletherapy companies over the years. But I can tell you that, prior to finding my home here at eTherapy, I think my experience can really attribute firsthand to telling you that eTherapy truly shines in the world of telepractice. We saved the best for last. As I mentioned earlier, we have two special guests with us today, our e-therapy mental health experts, if you will. We have John Ebert and Ashley Sanders. And John and Ashley are our mental health program managers here at eTherapy. They have a wealth of knowledge that they're going to share with you very soon here. All right, so we wanted to give you just a brief overview of who we are and who we support. So we message summed it up best.
Hi, from eTherapy. We have been providing online special ed related services to students for well over a decade. We serve early intervention through 12th grade, and we have the experience to know what works in the online learning environment. We provide face to face online sessions for mental health, speech therapy, OT, PT, behavioral services, and evaluations. We know that families are juggling so many responsibilities with online learning. So at eTherapy, we make the process simple. Students just go to our site, input their initials and date of birth, and they are taken to their confidential student profile page. From here, all they need to do is click one button to meet their therapist online. With our platform, the student never has to go to an outside video conferencing system. Everything is housed in one private and secure place. There are no links or URLs to remember. It's just one click to join the HIPAA compliant online session. So, what kind of activities will your student be doing, and what does the session look like? Teletherapy sessions are live, face to face, and interactive. The therapist will use activities and learning materials that address your student's IEP goals. And the types of digital materials our e-therapist can use are really limitless. They may share worksheets and type directly on the screen with the student. The therapist may use online whiteboards and visuals or videos to work on therapy concepts. The work can also be very hands on and can use manipulatives to address the skills your student needs to work on. The sessions don't always have to take place sitting at a desk. Your therapist may include movement activities to get your student engaged or to address motor skills. E-therapy sessions are very dynamic and engaging. Students can interact with fun games and activities directly on the screen. Our e-therapists make the process fun while addressing your students' individual learning needs. And we support students of all age ranges, including early intervention, providing parent coaching, support, and guidance in our face-to-face sessions. We are here to help, so please feel free to reach out to us with any questions or to learn more about how we can help your student reach their full potential with our easy to use online solution. We look forward to meeting you soon.
All right. So now that you know a little bit more about who we are and who we serve, we'd like to share with you one of the features that sets us apart from our competitors. This is where the magic really happens, the star of the show, if you will. It's called our STAR system.
Hi, and welcome to eTherapy's STAR platform. STAR is a user friendly and intuitive system that supports your daily work with students. Our STAR platform has automatic scheduling features. Student referrals come right to your dashboard automatically, and you can easily click to schedule the student right there from your dashboard. All of the student information is already embedded in the system for you so that you can easily click to add a single or recurring schedule on your session calendar. STAR also sends automatic session reminder emails to families with the login instructions so that you don't have to spend time sending instructions and reminders to families. When it's time to meet with students, you can start your online sessions with one click from your STAR dashboard. There's no need to go to an outside meeting platform or remember passcodes. It's all built into the system to make your life easier. Through STAR, you can view and track all of your session information quickly and easily. You can document IEP goal data for students and track their progress in STAR. Our STAR platform allows you to upload and download documents in a secure and HIPAA compliant manner. We also have a built in messaging system that you can utilize as a communication log and also to communicate directly with schools and staff. eTherapy also offers webinars and continued education opportunities so that you can continue to learn, grow, and be inspired. And be sure to check out the therapist tools and online activity links in STAR. There are tons of resources at your fingertips through STAR so that you can easily grab an activity and go. Directly from STAR, you can access a host of interactive materials, including e-therapy resources made just for you. At eTherapy, we don't limit you to one type of therapy activity in the platform, and we don't dictate what type of activities you can use. If you have your own materials that work well for you, you're welcome to use those. But if you need a little extra inspiration and tools, we offer a huge library of resources tailor made for what therapists need. Then you can choose what makes sense for you and your student with the click of a button. Through STAR, you can find brand new games and activities every month, free to our therapist, that can be used to target a variety of therapy goals. STAR is an easy to use and intuitive system that does much of the work for you so that you can focus on the important work that you do with students every day.
All right. I can honestly say I wish I had been fortunate enough to have access to STAR when I was providing teletherapy services. There's just so many amazing features all in one place. It's a showstopper. I could go on about STAR all day, but I think I can do one better. This is the time when I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to Ashley and John, who are going to talk to you about firsthand with their interactions in STAR and to share with you what it's like in the day in the life of an e therapist. So, John and Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about what a typical day might look like? And I know that can vary from therapist to therapist, so maybe talk about what that looks like. And then throw in there a little bit about how the support systems work here at eTherapy, if you can.
Yeah, I can go ahead and start. So I would say that the only thing typical is that there doesn't have to be a typical day. A lot of it depends on what school you're working with, what students you're working with. In those videos, we talked a lot about IEP based services, but we also have gen ed students that we work with either during school hours or we even support them in the afternoon and weekends. So it really can fit into your schedule and your life. Which is great. And those services can be anywhere from, 30 minutes for our littler guys that don't have as much of an attention span to the traditional 60-minute therapy session for some of our older students. We also are branching out for some of our licensed professionals to work with teachers and educators that need that support. So, really trying to support the whole school community and their mental wellness, which is really exciting because for those of you that work with students, it doesn't just stop at them. It really has to be that whole school community that's getting mentally well. Our supports really can vary depending on if you're, a school psychologist doing evaluations, or if you're a licensed mental health counselor or LPC, or licensed clinical social worker that's really focused on building coping skills for a student. We like to use like a brief solution focused, strength based approach with a lot of our students, but also bringing in evidence based practices like CBT, DBT, SFBT. So that's a little bit about what the day looks like from my perspective, but I'm sure John has more he could add as well.
Yeah, I think if there were one word that I would use to sum it up, it's flexibility. And we have an understanding of flexibility just based on the emergence of telehealth. We saw that during COVID, telehealth became basically the only way that people were getting therapeutic supports. But in addition to just the flexibility and convenience that way, as you saw in the video, there's an endless amount of things that you can use, whether it's tools and resources that we have or things that you want to incorporate in your own work with kids. But in addition to that, it's a flexibility of schedule. And one of the things that I really love, and when you look at what the typical day is, I think Ashley kind of said that it can vary so much from therapist to therapist. We have some therapists that are wanting to come on full time, and they put in their availability and they're able to see kids based on their schedule. Schools and account managers will match you up based on the school needs and your availability. But then we have some people that might be a grandmother that watches her grandkids 2 or 3 days a week, and she's just looking for 5 or 10 hours to maybe supplement income. And we have a place for that therapist as well. So it really is the best of both worlds when it comes to just that flexibility of schedule. And then in addition, while it can sometimes feel like you're on an island when you're doing telehealth, right? Sitting in your living room by yourself. The other great thing about e-therapy is that we always have people that are available. Our account managers are fantastic. If you have questions, if there are things that might need to be communicated with them or with the school, we always have people that are available to provide personal support, tech support, whatever it is that you need. So you're never truly by yourself on an island.
And we have a few more things that we're going to be adding in the upcoming school year. And some of them are already in place. We have a really thorough risk assessment training and documents to help therapists out because we know that that's always a stressful time when you have a student that may be having suicidal ideation. We also are going to have some training series for different therapeutic modalities, with the first focus being on solution focused brief therapy, since we use that so much in the school settings. And then just a lot of great resources that you can use with your client, as well as access to John and I. We're always available to staff cases or answer questions. Or, sometimes you just need to connect to another person going, hey, did I handle this well? Or what are some ways that I could do this differently next time? So we're always available as well.
Yeah, and if I can add to what Ashley said, it's we are living in an age of what seems like weekly technological advancements, and a lot of the students that you're going to be working with, a lot of your clients, they have grown up in this age of technology, right? They've never lived without knowing what a phone or what a cell phone or an iPad is, so they're very adept and almost feel more comfortable utilizing technology, which is great because you're in a place where you're speaking their language, so to speak. You're using the medium that they use most often. And that's one of the other things that I really love about e-therapy and the platform that we use is you're getting in front of kids on the device that they have in front of them the majority of the time. In addition to that, there are so many different interactive things that you can do over this platform. I found that initially I was a bit hesitant in how am I going to be able to connect with clients? How am I going to be able to engage them and make this interactive? But I can honestly say that there are more ways that I'm making sessions interactive through telehealth than there were when I was meeting in person because technology is just that amazing.
Absolutely. I appreciate you both sharing all that. That's super awesome. You hit on a lot of these. I do have one just for my own personal selfishness because I always like to hear this. Either John or Ashley, do you either of you have like a favorite e-therapy story or a most successful story that you could share with everyone here?
I would say one of my favorites, and this wasn't me personally, but one of the therapists I work with, we had a kindergartner that she was just working really, really closely with, and it was for a set amount of sessions. And the school was kind of, pretty set on that amount of sessions, but um, the school quickly realized that the therapist just had such a good relationship with the little girl and the parent. It was a little bit tougher for the school to reach. So they decided to continue services for the entire school year into the summer. And it's just been really awesome for this little kindergartner to have that continued support, but also for mom to feel really engaged. I know that the therapist felt really empowered to know that the school was able to go, okay, you're doing such an awesome job. We're going to support that relationship because we see how valuable it is. Because I know it's a great feeling as a therapist when everybody can see, the good work that we do with our clients. So that's like one of my favorite things that's happened this year.
Yeah, and I would say with me and mine is very much out of the norm. So I'll kind of preface my story with that statement. Okay. But I ended up getting paired with a young man who was graduating high school. He was struggling a little bit, I think, with the transition. There's so much change. All of y'all can probably remember your senior year and you're kind of stepping into the unknown. And so I was able to work with him. He made a tremendous amount of progress. And then one day, I checked the mail and I have a graduation announcement from him, which kind of made it real. It was a really cool thing. And in addition to that, he ended up inviting me to a graduation party. Now, typically, I've always felt that telehealth is something where we're going to connect with them over a platform. Chances are I'm never going to meet them. But at his insistence and his mother's request, I was actually able to go and meet this young man that I'd gotten to know over 6 months, was able to meet him face to face and shake his hand. And so I would say that that's probably one of the coolest stories that I've been a part of.
Awesome. I actually kind of got goosebumps from both of those stories. And you guys, I love, we did not plan this for everyone here today. We did not plan those stories in advance. So I love, we heard the whole range. We heard kindergarten, we heard graduation. So super powerful. I love hearing those. Thanks, guys. All right. To keep it moving along, we could go on with those stories all day, I'm sure, but we want to be cautious of your time. So, we are going to go ahead and take a pause here from us talking and give you guys a chance to ask the expert. So, at this point, feel free to turn on your microphones if you'd like to, if you're more comfortable in the chat pod. What questions do you all have for John and Ashley? More specific to, e-therapy as far as the services that we offer or what it's like to be an e-therapist. We'll get to some more of the logistic type questions later when we talk with our hiring team and our operations team. So it looks like we have the first one here. John or Ashley, how do you ensure client confidentiality in telehealth setting?
So that's a great question. And just, like if you're doing telehealth with any company, one, it's setting expectations with the school, the family, and the student about what that looks like. So we work really hard with our schools to make sure they have a safe, secure, but also private place for our students to access services. Um, Same thing if we are seeing some of our students at home in certain ones of our programs. I also always let students I'm working with know about the chat option, about using the use of earbuds. That way they can let me know if they're feeling like they don't have confidentiality in their setting or surrounding. So we do our best, but we also let them know the limits. So we, let them know that we can't control if their parents outside the door, but here's some resources we have, and we work with their parents on that. We do work with the school to not be there. One of the great things about the STAR platform, and Megan may be able to speak to this even more, is that it generates a unique Zoom link each time that you click on start a meeting. So there's no way for people to save that, access that, hack into that. It's completely HIPAA compliant on our end.
Absolutely. Yeah, when the therapist is scheduling the session, just like Ashley described, it is a new unique link for them each session. So no one has ever been in there before and no one will be in there after. All right. Do you guys have any other questions for Ashley and John? John.
I see someone has put a question in here. Do you work with multiple schools? And the answer is yes. And ironically, e-therapy got its start because we our founder was working with multiple schools and found that she was spending more time in her car driving from school to school than she was in front of students actually providing the supports that they need. And so that's kind of how that's part of the story of how e-therapy was born. But absolutely we work with multiple schools. Based on the platform, it's very easy, right, to go from school to school or to go from student to student. And based on what the needs of the school are and based on what the availability of the therapist is, your account manager makes sure that those needs are lined up for both the school and the therapist.
I'd like to add too, John, I think it also depends too, like you were just saying, what the needs of the school are. So if you're licensed in a state and that school has over a full-time caseload of need, you're probably just going to end up working at that one school because we'll need you all in there. But like John mentioned, you could be spread to a couple of different schools, just wanting to make sure that our therapists have the caseload that they're looking for.
Absolutely. It looks like one more question. I just wanted to touch on something Andrea said as well. Andrea, you and I will probably connect as well if you're doing any assessments as a school psychologist. So I kind of walk you through, I show you all the assessments. Our list has grown this summer as well. So we use different platforms for those remote assessments. So if any other school psychologists are here, you and I will probably connect, hopefully, once you come on board and talk a little bit more about that process too. It looks like we had one more question come in, Ashley or John. The setting that we typically see the children.
I would say that the setting, one can vary. A lot of our services take place during the school day, like I said, in a confidential room. The school sets the student up on like a laptop. Um, and they're good to go. Other programs and other therapists do choose to see our students after school hours, on the afternoons or weekends depending on the program. So a lot of that is based on therapist needs, school need, and student need. I like to say that e-therapy is the opposite of cookie cutter. It is really about what everybody in that picture needs and what works for them. Because it is a national company and so large, and we have these great partnerships nationally, we're able to really tailor things to what everybody needs. And I see another question was, what does summer look like for therapists? And what I just said holds true for that too. So some of our therapists like to work over the summer, and that's great. And we definitely have some schools that want ongoing support. They have a lot of evals to catch up on, or students that need continued services. Other ones of our therapists go, hey, I want a summer break, just like I would have in a traditional school setting, and that's okay too. Or maybe they want to reduce their hours. So again, it's really, really flexible. Um, dependent on where you're licensed, what our contracts look like in that state. But it's also dependent on what you want, what you're looking for. So that's what's great about e-therapy.
Awesome. All right. And I see a question just popped up about the relationship. So that is perfectly, you must have been previewing the slides here because that is what is coming up here, where I'm going to have Stephanie, again, our Assistant Director of Operations, she's going to share a little bit more about the support roles and specifically that relationship that you asked about in the chat pod between therapists and account managers. So Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit more about how our support system helps our e-therapists be so successful?
Of course. So you heard a lot about our account managers from John and Ashley. Thank you guys for kind of introducing who are our account managers. Our ops team is made up from our hiring team, our account managers, myself, and our director of operations. We all work really closely to make sure that we know what you guys are looking for whenever you meet with our hiring team and you talk about your background, the hours you're looking for, and your interests. And while that's all happening, myself, our director of operations, and our account managers are really collaborating with the schools to understand what the school's needs are. So when we meet with you, we have a really firm understanding of where that placement and what that need is. From there, our account managers are going to become your best friend. We are going to be working with you day and night to figure out what your schedule is going to look like, if there's a tech issue, if there's billing concerns. They're really that liaison between e-therapy and the school to really help you work through your problems. Ashley kind of hit the nail on the head when she noted, even if there's just kind of bouncing some ideas of, hey, did I do this right? How does this look? How can I move forward with this? What about a goal? How do I move forward with kind of having a conversation about this tough situation that's going on? Your account manager is going to be that person. They should be included on all of your emails because they'll jump in and sometimes they can solve something before it was even really a problem. So your account manager is your go-to person for all things e-therapy. A lot of our account managers were previously therapists for e-therapy, so they know a lot of the things that are going to pop up for you and how to solve them. And they'll help you walk through the STAR platform. They'll provide onboarding training and be able to support you in any way that could possibly come around.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephanie. I always love hearing about that support chain. It's such an amazing piece here. All right, so we've come to the part of the coffee talk where you're going to get to meet the team who will be guiding you through the next steps of your journey if you do decide you might like to join the e-therapy team. Jill, can you walk us through what these next steps in the process would look like after everyone leaves here today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Megan. And yeah, as Andrea had mentioned, her and I already got to meet. So she already got to go through these steps. So she's kind of another expert in the process at this point. In a few minutes, Megan will post up a couple of links into the chat box. And those links are going to bring you to one, our sign up page on our website. So signing up to become an e-therapist is super easy. Put in a little bit of information there. It'll create your profile so that we have your basic contact info to be able to get in touch with you and have you come on board. The second link that she's putting up there is the Calendly link so that you can schedule a time to meet with either myself or Letitia. So again, keeping with the theme of e-therapy and making it as convenient and well-rounded for everybody, we set up a time that works best for you. So Tish and I have our interview bookings available. You can pick the day and time that works the best, and then we meet you where you're at, which is really wonderful. So once we get into doing that interview, we're going to go over some basic information about you. At eTherapy for our mental health sector, we do have a two-step interviewing process, which is a little different than we've normally done it. We feel like this gives therapists a better, well-rounded experience with eTherapy so that we have a better idea of your unique skills and abilities and how best we could place you in our mental health department, because it's so vast and there's so many different areas of mental health to be covered. So once you meet with either Tish or I, then you'll move on to meeting with either Ashley and John, or possibly Erica, as Andrea mentioned. So Erica kind of handles all of the school psychologist part, and John and Ashley handle more of the direct counseling, LPCs, LCSWs, that type of counseling part. So as you're going through that process, we'll keep in touch with you. We'll want to make sure that if you're interested in getting licensed in other states, we can walk you through that process and make that really easy and seamless. To again, make sure that our therapists are getting the caseload that they're wanting to have. So if you want to have full time with us, maybe you're not licensed in a state that we get a high level of needs out of. That doesn't mean that your options are over. We'll get you licensed. We'll help you get licensed in another state so that you can get the caseload you're wanting to have. Make things, again, as easy, convenient, and flexible for our therapists. So we'll facilitate you through that process. And once you decide to come on board with us, sign our contract, we'll go through an onboarding. So that will be kind of your transferring from the hiring team over to Stephanie and the account manager team, getting you set up and ready to meet with them, get your caseload assignments, do some initial training on our platform, and learn how that whole process works.
Awesome. Thanks, Jill.
Yeah.
All right. Don't worry, everyone. We're winding down. So if your mug's almost empty, you're going to soon have a chance to grab a refill. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope to see you all again, whether it's at one of these events in the near future or better yet, at an interview soon. And we hope you all have a wonderful day.